Hello, this is the Watchdog, and welcome back to Fun with Watches. If watches weren't fun, you'd only need one. Today we're going to do a comparison video. We have 3 Ultra Affordable PRX homages from AliExpress. Let's start with the wrist check. I'm wearing this Cadison 8232. I really like this watch. I've been wearing it a lot. And Grego's wearing my Mysterious Code Engineer watch. Grogu says that Master Skywalker is teaching them about a famous Wookiee philosopher who says the only true wisdom is knowing you know nothing. His name was Chewbacca. All right, let's take a look at the watches. We have the Binbond B102. And then we have the Poedagar 930. And then we have the SKMEI 9288. I've reviewed the Binbond and the SKMEI, but I haven't reviewed the Poedagar. I just figured when I got the Poedagar, I'd go straight to the comparison video. So, needless to say, let's start out with the boxes. The Binbond actually came with an extra battery, but the box is very simple. The Poedagar, the box actually is labeled, but other than that, it's really not any more complicated. Although it did come with this little tiny cleaning cloth. And the SKMEI didn't come in a box. But here's the extra links I took out. Then let's go with the price. The price, I'm going to give you the price at the time of this comparison, but they're all over the place. So your mileage may vary. But at the time of this comparison, this Binbond is $9.49. This Poedagar is $14.96, and the SKMEI is $15.79. So once again, all three are ultra affordable. Now, I have reviewed other watches in this price range that are PRX homages. I just don't have them anymore. I have to sell my watches. And this SKMEI, I went ahead and bought it again just for this comparison video because I thought the SKMEI was really the gold standard of these ultra affordable PRX homages. So I just wanted to see how the Binbond and the Poedagar stacked up against the SKMEI. Now let's go over the dimensions. They are both about the same. All three are about the same size. 37.7 at the bezel, 37.3, and 37. So very similar. And they all have a very similar lug-to-lug. 44.8, 45.3, and 44.8. So very similar there. Thickness, though, is different because the Binbond has a flat crystal and the Poedagar and the SKMEI have dome crystals. So the Binbond, of course, is the thinnest because of the crystal, and it's only 10.1 millimeters thick. The Poedagar has the biggest dome in the crystal, so it's 12 millimeters thick, and the SKMEI is 11.6 millimeters thick. Now, of course, all three are integrated bracelets, so lug width does not apply, but at where the bracelet meets the case, the Binbond is 26.4 millimeters, the Poedagar is 26.6, and the SKMEI is 25.3. Then when it comes to the weight, the Binbond is 105 grams with 2 links removed. The Poedagar is 105 grams with 2 links removed. And the SKMEI is 109 grams with 3 links removed. I think the SKMEI weighs a little bit more because the links are solid. And these two, the links are hollow. When you look at the colors, I tried to get watches of similar colors. So both the Binbond and the Poedagar are kind of a turquoise, but if you look at the two, the Binbond turquoise is so much bluer than the Poedagar, which has a lot more green in it. The SKMEI didn't have a color like this. I went ahead and got the blue, which was the closest thing to these two colors. But if you look at the Binbond and the Poedagar, they have a nice sunburst effect, but the SKMEI does not. I personally think the Binbond has the best looking dial of the three, and then the Poedagar next, and then the SKMEI brings up the rear. It's just not as pleasant looking as the other two. Then when it comes to the bezels, though, if you look at the Binbond and the SKMEI, they're about the same, but the Poedagar, the bezel just seems to be a little bit thicker and looks a little bit nicer. So I kind of like the Poedagar bezel better. Then when it comes to the indices, they're all very similar. I would say I give it to the Binbond. I just think they just look a little bit more pronounced, and you can see the white of the loom a little bit better. Of course, when it comes to actually being loomed, they're all really bad. Then when it comes to the hands, I think the Poedagar wins. They're a little bit thicker than the other two. Then when it comes to the date complication, they're all very similar. The date of the Binbond, though, looks a little bit smaller than the other two. And I think that the font on the SKMEI is a little bit bolder. So I think the SKMEI wins on the complication. Then let's go over the movements before I go over the crowns. Both the Binbond and the Poedagar have a Chinese-made SL28, which have very loose crown action. And the SKMEI has an Epson AX33A, which has much better crown action. Here, let me show you the Poedagar. Really loose. And then when you go to set it, you get that annoying minute hand jump. But the SKMEI, on the other hand, not loose at all. And then when you go to set it, there is no jump at all. So when it comes to movements and crown action, the SKMEI wins easily. The Epson movement is just so much better than the SL28. Then when it comes to the crystals, once again, the Binbond is flat and the Poedagar and the SKMEI are domed. I just prefer a flat crystal. I just think it looks nicer. So I think the Binbond wins on the crystal. Then let's look at the cases. They're all similarly shaped, but if you look at the Binbond, it has a matte finish, where the Poedagar and the SKMEI have a chrome-plated polish finish. And I prefer the matte finish on the Binbond just because I think it matches the bracelet better. There's not as much of a jarring contrast between the matte finish of the case and the brush finish of the steel bracelet, where it's really noticeable on the other two watches. So I think the Binbond wins when it comes to the case. Then if you look at the case backs, they're all press-ons. The SKMEI has a little fake notches for a wrench, but it's really just a press-on. And then we have the Poedagar. It says stainless steel back, water resist, 3 ATM. And then we have the Binbond. I guess there really is no winner on the case backs. They're all close enough. Press-ons, and you all get 30 meters on each one of these watches. So I don't think, yeah, case backs, I just say it's a tie. And then let's go over the bracelets. The bracelets are all PRX style. They're single links. But the Binbond and the Poedagar, they're hollow. Where the SKMEI, they're solid. So the SKMEI, the bracelet's just so much nicer. The SKMEI wins easily. All three of them have push pins. And also the SKMEI has a longer bracelet. I removed 3 links on the SKMEI, but only 2 links on the other two. Then also, one thing I pointed out on the Binbond review that you'll see too, that the Binbond at the clasp, it indents right there. So that's not very pleasant looking. The Poedagar does not do that. And neither does the SKMEI. Now, all three of the clasps are about identical. But I just think that where the links are, the SKMEI just looks better too. So I think the SKMEI wins at the clasp. But all three of them are pretty close. Here's the Binbond on my 7.5-inch wrist. It looks nice. It wears nice. But once again, that where the bracelet meets the clasp just looks odd. Here is the Poedagar on my 7.5-inch wrist. It wears a lot like the Binbond. It's about the same size, about the same weight, but at least it doesn't have that indent at the clasp. And here's the SKMEI on my 7.5-inch wrist. As you can see, that bracelet just looks so much nicer, really higher quality. And where it meets at the clasp, it looks a lot nicer too. That's such a better bracelet. Here we are in the loom room. All three of these watches have a notoriously bad loom, but I guess one has to be better than the other. So let's see which one is the best of the worst. As we speed up the time, the Binbond is already gone in an instant. The SKMEI is the next to go, leaving the Poedagar as the clear winner despite not having loom indices, but still quite bad. There we have it. 3 ultra affordable watches on AliExpress that are homages to the Tissot PRX. As far as my conclusion, I think the Binbond is the nicest looking of the 3. But the SKMEI has by far a better movement and a better bracelet. So I think the best of the thing would be to take the SKMEI bracelet and put it on the Binbond and see what we get. Let's go ahead and try that. And there it is, the Binbond wearing the SKMEI bracelet. So that works. So I think this is the winner of the 3. Actually, the SKMEI still wins because it has a far better movement. So if it was easy to take the SKMEI movement out and put it in this Binbond, then that would be the ultimate. Well, thank you for watching my comparison video of the Binbond B102, the Poedagar 930, and the SKMEI 9288. And I will be back with another review or unboxing. Be sure and like and subscribe to my channel. And if you like any of these watches, be sure to use my affiliate link and I will get a small commission. Bye.